Oh, there's Erin, and there am I. Good afternoon, everyone, friends, and hopefully new friends as well as old friends. Today, we are wanting to revisit some of our favorites from 2025, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on for next year also and what's in the works. Um, First, I want to talk about what we have coming up for our event. Now, today is the last day for early bird pricing for our event coming up the last weekend of April, Friday and Saturday. It's going to be a blast. We just have created this event it's a different structure. We're doing things differently than we have in the past. Still totally focused on God and health and healing, but with a lot of fun and a shorter time frame. So the event is from Table to Temple. It is April 24th and 25th in Wirtz near Roanoke, Virginia, on the Montgomery Family Farm and Melvin's Farm to Fork store. We have some repeat presenters. We're having bluegrass music. We're having a dinner on Friday evening, and it's just going to be a blast, but in a more hopefully a approachable time frame for many people. And we're just going to make it so much fun. I mean, I'm looking forward to Friday, of course, opening, and it's going to be so much fun. All right, so there's a QR code, and you can register on our website or Melvin's Farm to Fork, either place. But sign on today for, Erin, is it 10% off?
The early bird pricing is $125 for an adult.
That is a very good price for a really packed one evening and one day. We will be opening exhibits in the afternoon, late afternoon, and then we have dinner, entertainment, and a talk or two beginning at 5 p.m. And then all day Saturday, lots of good workshops and presentations. It's going to be fantastic as usual, but I think even more fun in the past. We will still have Ken on board leading us in worship music, and we'll have a children's program. Tickets are selling. We've been very pleased. We've sold quite a few over the holiday season, but last day to cash in on that discounted price. And I wanted to bring up also that we still have our holiday ebook available. Granted, holiday season is almost over. For our family, actually, we have another week and a half because we had to postpone our family celebration due to illness going around a couple of our families, a really delightful illness, hand, foot, and mouth disease. We did not want that to spread any further, so we postponed our own holiday celebration for 2 weeks. And I'll bet that there are a lot of our viewers out there also who have late or delayed holiday celebrations. So check this out. This may be of interest to you. All righty. So back to the focus of today's show. Let's talk just a little bit first about what we have coming up, including an interview next week, I think, with my friend Tracy from Autism Health. We're going to talk about the problems with diagnosing, treating, and dealing with autism, but also some things that can and do help others, and the focus of Autism Health. They put on some fantastic conferences with some wonderful speakers and just a lot of good things going on there. We have a long list of other people coming up, Morley Robbins being one. Gosh, Erin, I can't even think, but I have a whole stack of cards of people that we're interviewing, and I've got to get them all scheduled. Not everybody's scheduled yet, but a lot of neat things coming up. I also am participating in a weekend retreat in southwestern Pennsylvania. We'll have more details about that as they come in. but that is geared towards health and healing for healthy families. And it's also put on by the group that our friend Steel Sessions heads up or is part of. And I have to say, Aaron and I, as we looked over all of our episodes for 2025, it was really hard to come down to our most favorite. Steele's was right up there. And I really I have to mention it because I found that episode, that interview to be very encouraging and enlightening. I don't know what you think, Aaron. What did you think about that? I know you liked it as well, but it's one of your favorites as well, I think. I'm looking forward very much to working with them in this coming year. Before we move on into our favorite shows, I want to talk about a favorite new product or two or three. They all happen to come from the same company, which, by the way, I have not uploaded those videos yet from the Redmond sea salt mines. Aaron, you're going to help me when you're here next weekend because I have a lot of videos to upload, those being some. But as far as Redmond is concerned, I am sipping from my favorite God's Good table mug, my favorite new drink, which is Redmond Relight chocolate flavored electrolytes. This has become a favorite in our household. Aaron, have you had a chance to try it yet?
No, not yet, but I wanted to.
Well, you will next weekend. You will next weekend. I've been sharing it with people, anyone who comes around or wherever I happen to be, because I have to say, if you like salted dark chocolate, you're going to love this. I find by this time of the afternoon, I need a little bit of a pick-me-up, but I don't want to have coffee or tea with added caffeine. So I've been making the Redmond Relight chocolate. It's really, really delicious. I just mix it with hot water and I add a dollop of cream. It tastes like salted hot chocolate. It is so good. So the stuff right there, it is the bee's knees. They also, this last year, have come up with Relight for kids. My family loves it. And everyone else that I've shared it with, it is pretty new. So I haven't had a chance to have it out there yet at our events, but I've been taking it and having people sample it when I go to other events. So Redmond Relight for children comes in lots of flavors. This one is pink lemonade. My kids like that. My grandkids like it. And everyone else who I've shared it with have loved it. And then we also have Relight Immunity. So it's electrolytes, but it has added benefits for immunity. Are you using this?
I don't have it right now, but I was using it last winter. I like that one because I believe the vitamin C comes from acerola cherry and camu camu, which is my preferred whole food vitamin C source. So that was one thing I liked about that one.
Want to come say hi, Emma?
To who?
Everyone in the world who's watching. The millions upon millions of people in the world. This is one, you're not going, she's going to be shy. Emma forgot that we were recording this afternoon and just came in, but she's one of the reasons why we are so careful in this household about what we eat, what we drink, and what we do. And Emma, what is your favorite Redmond Relight?
Well, the Kid's Grape.
The Kid's Grape is her favorite. It is not as salty. This is what she says. What, the watermelon?
Lime.
Watermelon lime. She also likes that. That's probably my favorite also. But every day I start my husband out, Aaron's dad, George, with a glass bottle filled with structured water, Redmond Relight. I think we're doing right now mango lime maybe, and 2 teaspoons of Redmond sea salt. He needs that for hydration, and it helps him tremendously. And the Relight products are our most favorite of anything that we've ever tried. And I'm not just saying that because it's an affiliate program. I'm saying that because we genuinely like it and sought them as affiliates. So there is that. I'm just going to throw in one other thing, which is unrelated. I am going to be interviewing my friend Kaylee Richards, otherwise known as, her business is known as the Honeysteader. She speaks at many homesteading type conferences. And fun thing, I met her several years ago at one of these events. I think maybe it was Rory Feek's Homestead Festival. I found her immediately to be just delightful, honest, a trustworthy person, very kind and generous and sweet. And I found out she literally grew up just around the corner, like 5 houses away. She grew up on this mountain where we live. She, besides being a really inspiring and informative speaker, is also a wonderful author. And man, I just got these books in last week. Somebody in our family is getting one as a gift, but I got a copy for me. And I'm going to be doing a video review of this, but people, Erin, I want you to put a link up for this. I don't know if we have one yet.
No.
The Beekeeper's Apothecary. In this book, which is stunning, she teaches all about how to create your own home apothecary using herbs that are in your yard, herbs that you can find locally, that you can buy on the internet, how to prepare, how to use them. And then, of course, because she is the Honeystead, there's a lot in here about utilizing honey as well. I expected a very good book from her, but when I received this and had it in my hands, I really was blown away. I know that term gets used, maybe overused, but this is an excellent book. So you might want to check it out. Definitely worth I think it was about $30 on Amazon. Good book. And I look forward to interviewing her. We were trying to get that set up for last week and we just couldn't do it. She was too busy. I was rather busy too. So we're, I think, going to put that one off until springtime when things are popping up from the ground and we can not only take a peek, I'll be on site with her. So not only can I take a peek in her own home apothecary, but we can take a walk and see what she's got going on. So with all of that said, I'm going to now move on to our favorite shows. And we're going to start with this, the most favorite of all for the year, The Economics of Feeding Your Family Well. This was a really fun program for me. I think, Erin, that you enjoyed it as well. Erin used to nanny for Sarah Pope many years ago, like
more than 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's insane. The years fly by. Yeah, but she used to babysit Sarah and her husband's 2 little guys. And I visited her once on one of my Florida trips. We've known each other for a long time, as we discuss along with Kelly in the beginning of this program. But Sarah and Kelly both are pioneers in the whole foods, natural foods, Weston A. Price space of blogging. They've had both very successful blogs for many years. And this episode was just delightful. We shared a lot of stories, a lot of tips, a lot of good information. Erin, are there some highlights to this that you recall?
I do not recall the specifics of this one.
Okay. It wasn't that long ago, but it was a little while ago. We really wanted to talk about, address some of the common complaints that people have. And I've heard them even fairly recently. It's too expensive to eat this way. It's too hard. And really, Kelly and Sarah have done a very good job of breaking that down and helping us to understand how to make eating well and feeding your family well, both economical, but also practical and doable. So this was a conversation that I found very useful and very, very delightful, as obviously a lot of you did as well. And I see that one of those, okay, one of our friends has also ordered the same book that I just mentioned. I always do like to check the comments here to see if we have questions. I'm glad that you've found those books as useful as I do, I hope. You'll have to let us know. Let us know in the comments. Okay, so moving on from here. We interviewed Sherry Tenpenny back in October. This was an interview that I had wanted to do for a long time, and I had put it off mostly because I felt it wise to just sort of expose our audience and our growing audience to ideas that are outside of the mainstream, but important. And this conversation is very important. And I'm so very grateful right now that our Health and Human Services Secretary, RFK Jr., is really hammering on getting the truth out about this particular industry, the lies and deceptions that they tell, that our government has put forward, truth that has been suppressed. We really just need to understand and make much better decisions, informed decisions, and have the freedom to choose. So this particular conversation, if you haven't already watched it, I will beg you to go ahead and take a look at it. It's very important. I will be also looking to interview Dr. Suzanne Humphreys, and Del Bigtree and I have talked twice about interviewing him. I do have a short interview on Rumble and BitChute with him, I believe, but we cannot put that on YouTube.
I think that was our first strike. We tried to put up an interview that you did with Dell on YouTube, and that was our very first strike.
Yeah, it never even went up. It might have even been the first interview that I ever tried to put up, but it was struck down even before it could go up. So granted, this was in 2020, maybe 2021. I don't remember, but it was in the height of that wonderful 3 or 4 year event that we had going on. And he was out there trying to get the truth out to everyone, trying to help us think for ourselves and see through the deceptions. So to follow up from this with Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, I am hoping to get together with Del in 2026. He's extremely busy now because his influence has grown and grown and grown. He has come out recently with an inconvenient study. We need to post that actually, Erin. I don't think we have it up. It is free for viewing. And if all you do is watch the first part, you will be dumbfounded, angry. It makes me angry. It just makes me angry because the truth is so different from the propaganda that we've been fed for decades. And an inconvenient study, I definitely should watch that. That is a must watch for everyone. But we opened that conversation. We're tiptoeing very carefully because we don't want to get any more strikes here. But we opened the conversation with this interview. I am actually going to be on Dr. Tenpenny's show March 9th. So we will continue over there with her. Okay, enough on that. The next one is one of my personal favorites, and it actually was a replay, but it's a favorite, and it's an important one. Mandy is such a sweet friend, is such an encouraging and inspirational person. We replayed this. It was popular the first time. Second time around, I'm not sure how it compared, but if you haven't watched this, we put this up here because it is really kind of at the crux of why we're doing what we're doing here. We want people to understand that what we put into our bodies, primarily via our mouths, but also the air we breathe, the water we drink, and bathe in, and what we're surrounded with, even within our atmosphere, it matters. It has an impact. It all has an impact. So this conversation with Mandy really demonstrates that and explains a lot of it. She is a PhD nutritionist, very, very capable, very informative, and very encouraging at the same time. All right, next. This one, I know Aaron was the one who set this up with Carly Bayless. We now have interviewed her twice. The other one had to do with cholesterol. We interviewed her along with Chelsea, and that also was a very good interview on cholesterol. But this one on mold was really eye-opening. I thought I knew a lot, but I learned way more than what I already knew. And I found it very helpful and instructional. Any thoughts, Erin?
Yeah, Carly definitely knows. She knows she has firsthand experience about mold. So this was a great introduction into it. And it's very complicated to work with mold. So you need to work with, if you have mold, you need to work with a mold literate practitioner.
Yeah, and she is a practitioner to help with mold remediation, and her stories.
She has a great little online course that walks you through information and steps about it. And yeah, she's a practitioner herself as well. But yeah, she's great.
One of the things, excuse me, I inhaled some of my chocolate electrolytes. One of the things that I took away from this, which was very important to me, was that the standard Petri dish mold test that you can pick up at any home store like Home Depot or Lowe's, and which we had used in our house, they really don't pick up on the majority of what is actually potentially in your atmosphere or in your home. And so she does recommend a different test, and that is included in part of this program. I have not done that yet. Mm-hmm. Actually, I need to do the mold course. I haven't taken the time yet to go through that, but she does offer the course. She offers suggestions, very good suggestions for testing as well as remediation. And she talks a lot about all of the effects that who knew were attributable to mold. So a very important topic. One thing that I find interesting about modern day living is that we build these airtight homes and these beautiful spaces, and we think that we are in this wonderful environment. But actually what we have done with modern home building largely is created the perfect environment for mold, as well as for toxins coming from spray foam insulation and manufactured flooring and all kinds of stuff. So it's not just about what we put in our bodies through our mouth, but also the environment that we're living in. And this particular episode went far to help us to understand the mold aspect of all of that. I'm really thankful that Carly came on to talk about that. Oh my goodness. Kim Furman, she and Mandy are two people at the top of my list for inspiration. This interview with her, it had me in tears. She has spoken at one of our last year's event. She'll be speaking at this year's event again. She is so very thoughtful, informative, encouraging, and instructional. But she points everything to God. Everything comes full circle back to God. And Our bodies are to be his temple. He dwells within those who bear his name. And she points out the need for us to care for these temples and many ways in which we can be honoring God with our bodies and through health and healing. Her story is very compelling. Her story is one of the most compelling of the many that I've heard. Her experience with her daughter while they were missionaries in Africa, really just, you got to listen to it. So she's one of my most favorite speakers and interviewees anyway, and one of my most favorite people. So a very good interview, to be sure. I had to throw this one in. We'll just talk about it briefly. Changing habits with my daughter-in-law, Sarah Diaz, who married Aaron's younger brother, Taylor, first younger brother. We laughed all the way through this. It was so much fun. So just for the entertainment factor, she is hilarious. It was just neat talking to one of my daughters-in-law and getting her perspective about coming into this family that is so focused on a healthy body, natural healing, honoring God with our bodies, all of that, because she came from a very traditional allopathic background. Her mother was an RN, is an RN still, and her mom has learned a lot. It was really encouraging to me to have this conversation with Sarah and have her smile, as she usually does, the whole way through. She has an infectious smile and laugh. But to see that, I'm always afraid that I'm going to be sort of overwhelming to our sons and daughters-in-law, that the way that we do food around our table is so different from others. And yet she was not daunted by all of that. She instead sought to learn and embraced and feeds her own family now very, very carefully and very well, just as her husband was brought up. So it was a fun conversation, and you might get a kick out of it too, especially if you're thinking about making that transition from standard American diet to a healthier way of eating, and it might seem overwhelming to you. Listen to this conversation, because it should be encouraging and fun. And then I believe this is the last one on our list, and Slow Down to Heal and Truly Live, with Patricia, with Pat, with Patricia McNamara. Actually, I had forgotten, Aaron, that she is also a functional nutritional therapy practitioner, and she has a Bachelor of Science, and I don't remember, what is MRWP?
That's the Master Restorative Wellness Practitioner.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. So I recognized restorative wellness practitioner, but I didn't know. Now, Aaron is also a restorative wellness practitioner, but you haven't gotten to the master level yet. You're continuing with more courses.
Yeah, I'm halfway there.
You're halfway there. Good.
Yeah.
And Aaron is working, studying, and trying to administer and help me with all of this God's Good Table stuff. And she's got a lot on her plate, in addition to how busy she is with her church and her community. But I'm glad, Aaron, that you're going in this direction as well. But this book, Slow Down to Heal and Truly Live, is one that we've talked about doing as a study online, and I just haven't gotten it together yet. I'm sorry, there's a lot that I haven't gotten together yet, and my New Year's resolution is to get some of these things taken care of, including this, in the next month, so we can get it on the schedule. But Slow Down to Heal and Truly Live was inspiring to me, because it points me back in many ways, just as Kim Furman does. It sets my mind where it needs to be. it reminds us to slow down, turn off the screens, take time to be with God, take time to seek his counsel and his wisdom, and then allow him to work within our lives and our bodies to heal and to be able to truly enjoy life and have a productive life. Really, it just very inspiring. So if you haven't watched that one, again, I would really encourage you to take a look at it. But turn everything else off, just as with Kim's as well, and probably the other ones. But just think, soak it in, and take in and contemplate what is being said. Because in this interview, she really does point us, our minds and hearts, in the right direction. And I found it very, very helpful. And I changed some of my morning practices because of it. Changed and have maintained, for the most part, some of these practices. So really a good interview. Carmen says that she bought an ozone generator negative ion machine to clean up the air in her home. We actually have one also in our atrium, because that is the space where I am most concerned with. We have an atrium with a fish pond and a swimming pool, and that was my main concern when it came to the conversation about mold with Carly Bayless. I'm thinking also that when we moved into this house 10 years ago was when our Emma's respiratory ailments started. And they were pretty severe for a while. And I was attributing it to mold. And then we did the mold tests and they came up negative. But we're going to redo them with the proper testing per Carly. But we put an ozone generator into the atrium so that we can remediate some of that. Mold can't grow in an ion-rich environment. So that was my thought in utilizing that. So Carmen, I hope you find that helpful, and I'd like to hear how that goes as well. We also have a couple of expensive air purifiers. I have one in the main living space that actually I need to find a new spot for and plug it in again. But I said from the beginning that it's not just what we put into our mouths, but what we're breathing in, what we're soaking in through our skin. But as we wrap up today, also let's think about what we put into our minds. Social media can be so destructive. And so can just all of there's so much available to us. I tend to listen to a lot of YouTube shows more than I should. But I love information. I'm always soaking up more information, and I like to hear people's stories. And so I have a lot of that going on. But just as with take time to slow down and truly heal with Patty McNamara, when we're filling our minds with all kinds of other information, even if it's good stuff, not harmful, but not taking the time to put into our minds and our hearts the word of God and the encouragement from other Christians and all of those things, then we can't be truly healthy, because our spirit has to be healthy as well to help our bodies be healthy. I will say, though, in that regard, Aaron and I both enjoy Expedition Bible on YouTube, right? I was watching it and I mentioned it to you and you said, oh yeah, I follow him. And you have his book.
What, Expedition Bible?
Yeah. You told me where God came down.
You might be thinking of somebody else. I'm not sure what that one is.
Oh, it was pretty, I don't know. Think on it.
I love to listen to the Bible Project.
Oh, I don't think I've listened to the Bible Project. What do they talk about?
They are one of the ones that started many years ago, where they would summarize a book of the Bible, but they would do it in illustrations. And then now it's like expanded to a lot of different things, but they're just fascinating information. So that one's one of my favorite YouTube channels and podcasts to listen to.
Good. I like to listen to things like that because where some people don't see the necessity to study and learn about archaeology and doctrine and all of this, I want to hear more faith affirming podcasts and shows, which is why I watch Expedition Bible. I watch a lot of Cross Examined as well. They came out, I think last week or earlier this week with nine proofs, 9 archaeological proofs that the Bible is real. It was very interesting. I watched it, I think, on Monday. So if we are going to be paying attention to what's out there on screens and things that we can listen to, as I do especially when I'm driving, I would encourage you to think about listening to some of these shows that, like Aaron mentioned. Say that one again, please. The Bible Project, and Expedition Bible, Cross Examine, and I listen to and watch and read a lot of Answers in Genesis. There's also Wes Huff. He's very good. There are more, but those are the main ones that I listen to. So if you're going to be paying attention to these screens or to speakers, let's make sure that much, if not most of it, is faith affirming or faith building. I think that's more important than anything, but still we need to take time, slow down, and truly heal. Time spent with God is the best time. And we need to not be too busy, not allow ourselves to be so busy that we don't. Carmen, your Bible study group listens to which one? Expedition Bible, Cross Examined, Answers in Genesis, Bible Project, one of those. But let's, in the next year, I want for all of us to be thinking about how to build our faith at the same time as we're building stronger, healthier bodies that are resilient, utilizing timeless principles rooted in God's word. That's our moniker. And that's where we need to be. So for 2026, I'm approaching it with a little trepidation because I know I have to get to work and stop talking about it. Just get to work. We have things that we've been planning on doing for a long time, and it's up to me to get them done. But hey, some of that has been done, and you'll be seeing it soon. We just filmed in November. I filmed a fermented condiments course, and I'm just reviewing that right now. I have all of the segments, and we'll be putting that course up live in January. We should be able to get that up in January, Erin. At the next day, I filmed a conversation with Dr. Heath, who is a North Carolina chiropractor, and now he's getting deeper into functional health and wellness. And so we'll be putting those up for free on our YouTube as well to share with all of you. Good conversations were had, very good conversations, which I hope that you will find very, very helpful. But the fermented condiments course is just fun and something that I'd wanted to do for a long time. So my encouragement to you for the coming year, and I know that I speak for Aaron when I say this, is to spend time focusing on your relationship with God, spend more time in His Word, take the time to slow down, breathe, and have conversations with our God. Allow Him to work in your heart and in your life. And I would just say one more thing in that. One thing that I find is missing in churches and study groups and families far and wide is the study of the Bible as a whole. Now, Aaron grew up in a church where We studied the Bible to learn the Bible. And in so doing, we understand that it's not just a collection of stories. It's all pieces of a beautifully created jigsaw puzzle, sort of, that come together that tell the story of God's love for us. It's our redemption story. It's not isolated incidents. It's not isolated lessons. It's the beautiful story. Without it, we would all be doomed. And so I'm just encouraging you, maybe pick up a chronological Bible. I have one, and read, maybe start in the Old Testament, but I also encourage people to read through the Gospels, understand who Jesus was and the prophecies that he fulfilled, and all of the evidences that he is real, because there are secular evidences that correspond to the biblical evidences that Jesus is real, that he really existed. He was really crucified on a cross. And there is lots of secular evidence that that tomb was empty on the third day. We need to hold on to that and see the promise that we have, because Jesus fulfilled his destiny, his earthly destiny, his heavenly destiny. And then I always tell people, please read the book of Acts. Go through the book of Acts so you can see God's plan for his church, God's plan for salvation, how we come to him, how people came to him, how the church interacted from the earliest days, and then move on through the letters, the epistles that explain more. And I like to think about it as, I appreciate the explanations and the depth in the epistles, but in those epistles, they're not showing you how people came to Christ to begin with. And I think that the book of Acts is really important for that reason. And then draw your own conclusions and go from there. But I think that is critically important. And just dwell on it. I should have grabbed my chronological Bible. I wasn't thinking about that when I sat down to do this today, but that's a really great place to start. And I like to read some Old Testament. The chronological Bible overlaps, so that where you have, for instance, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, they overlap. They're overlapping accounts.
Yeah, this is
You have that one. Okay, that's not the same one I have, but that looks more. One I have is about 5 inches thick. Well, probably 4 inches thick. Pretty hefty, but that looks. And the one I have also has lots of archaeological notes and footnotes and such, but it's really helpful because I want to understand the whole story. And sometimes I forget, or I'm just still learning more, but I like to read that and then read through the New Testament as well. So where Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John overlap, or give different accounts, different perspectives on the same accounts, it's all put together in a chronological Bible. So you're not spending extra time reading and rereading the same thing. You're actually getting it all together and able to understand it. So that would be my wish for you to pursue in the next year. And please stay with us. We do have a lot of plans. We're excited about a lot of possibilities. And I've got to get on the ball and get some more big things done. But I'm enjoying the journey right now. And Carmen, I'm glad you're reading through the book of Acts. That's wonderful. Enjoy the journey. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can reach out with questions on YouTube, or you can write us at hello@godsgoodtable. If you have topics that you'd like us to cover or people you'd like us to interview, tell us. Again, write us at hello@godsgoodtable.com. We definitely want to hear from you. Erin, any other thoughts before we close?
Thank you for spending another year with us.
Amen to that.
Mm-hmm.
We are really grateful for every one of our viewers. And yeah, just please stick with us. But thank you. Thank you for the encouragement. We often get very encouraging messages and words, as well as questions. And we are perfectly happy to take critique and comments also to help us redirect where we perhaps need to make some changes. But stay with us. Please subscribe and share, because that's important too. So just thank you very much for being with us today and always. And we hope to see you next year. How about that? Have a good one. Please keep us in your prayers as well, as we will you. And amen to that. Take good care, everyone. Bye-bye.